Friday, September 19th, here on the Just Baseball Show. You got Arm Layton and I am Peter Apple. And today, a 2026 preview for the American League and the National League Rookie of the Year. Aram brought a big old list. We got our top five in the American League, top five in the National League going into the 2026 season. But of course, Arm went a little deeper, and we got three honorable mentions in each league, so that's eight total. We're also going to end the episode with a weekend preview, big time series coming up between the Mariners and the Astros. But I want to start with Tarik Skubal returning back from injury. He looked awesome, and it's all brought to us by the sportsbook Born in Vegas. Remember, folks, download BetMGM, whether that be on iOS or Android, and use promo code Just Baseball. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first wager loses. Reminder, if you're betting on NFL, college football this weekend, and Major League Baseball down the stretch, make sure to use a sportsbook offer when presented. Again, it's code Just Baseball on BetMGM to get that first bet offer up to $1,500 back. Remember, gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. Before we get to the rookie preview, Tarik Skubal, just finished watching. We're recording here on Thursday, September 18th. 6 innings, gave up, scattered about 7 hits, but only gave up 1 earned run, struck out 9, touched 101.5 miles an hour. Really had everything working. It's just the Guardians have now seen him 60 times in his career. So it makes sense that maybe this time they would get 1 run as he was coming into this with 16 innings of shutout baseball against the Guardians with 23 strikeouts. Tigers fans, big sigh of relief. Scoop is back.
Yeah, and just looks like himself. Also, the pitch that he got burned on, the changeup that Jensen Noel hit out. I mean, how many guys? It was a changeup on the outer edge of the plate that he pulled out of the yard in Comerica. There's a very short list of players that are going to do that to you, and Noel is just one of the few that has the strength to do that. It just wasn't even a bad pitch. Huge sigh of relief, and then on top of that, they activate Paul Sewald. We'll see what they get out of him, but it is just a veteran reliever here that maybe can help just lengthen that bullpen a little bit. We talked about how Finnegan has been fantastic as well since they brought him in, but I also I can't even talk about just that game without continuing to just be baffled by the Cleveland Guardians. It's Tanner Bybee, another phenomenal start. He matched pretty much Skubal and went 6 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, and they beat him. They picked up 9 hits in this game. It's not even over yet. I mean, maybe they'll blow it, so I don't want to ruin it, but they're winning 3-1 as we're recording this in the 7th. Assuming they hold on to this, I don't get how they're doing this. It's crazy. And they're beating up on the Tigers here. All of a sudden, Guardians are a threat for the postseason.
To speak to that feeling of not knowing how they're doing it, I couldn't agree with you more. Right now in this lineup against Tarik Skubal today, David Fry is hitting 4th. We remember David Fry. David Fry was an all-star last year. But this version of David Fry has an OPS below 600, and he's the cleanup hitter at DH. And they're winning 3-1.
Against the Cy Young winner.
Against Tarik Skubal in Detroit.
Yeah.
Weddy was throwing 101.5 today. Because Troy Melton then came in and immediately gave up 2 runs in relief. That's guard ball. That's the definition of it. It's just timely hitting. It's grinding you out with pitching. I mean, look at Bybee. Last start, 9 innings shutty, 2 hits. This start, 6 innings. What was it? 1 run, 8 Ks? He's getting hot again, right? They're just putting together good pitching performances. They're grinding out timely hitting. And one last thing on Jensen Noel, you said that he hit that home run off Tarik Skubal on just a pitch that has no business leaving the ballpark. He did the same thing to Crochet. I don't know if you have it up where you can click on specific pitches with Jensen Noel and see some of the farthest outside of the zone. But he hit a Garrett Crochet fastball 97 that was 4 balls out and 4 balls up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It wasn't even
close. Did
close.
You see that pitch too? I don't know if Payton can find that home run. He's been doing this. And that's
it's not even
Crochet.
Close.
That's against Crochet and Skubal.
Yeah, which is so funny. It's if he could just make more contact in the zone. But he's gonna get you every once in a while. It's a great guy to deploy off the bench or in certain spots. But I kind of like that against pitchers that people probably are never going to hit anyways. He's got the chance to just maybe leave the yard on a crazy pitch. Like you can execute and you're still not going to beat him. Yeah, that is not even close. I'd venture to say that's the only pitch in that 3-inch area. You could probably go 5 inches of that area that's been hit out this year. That's nuts. But yeah, I was looking at the standings too, because what they're as the time that we're recording this, if they win, they hold on, they'd be two back, but then we'd have to see what happens in the Mariners game. But let's say anywhere between 2 to 2.5 back of the Mariners for that last wild card spot. If the Mariners weren't playing some of the hottest ball as well, I mean, they easily could be on the outside looking in. And then when you look at the Guardians comparing to the National League, if they were in the National League, they'd be 2 games up on the Mets. It's just wild stuff there. So, I mean, I don't know if they're going to make it. It's going to be really hard with the way that the Mariners are playing. But now all of a sudden, the Red Sox, they got to be looking behind them a little bit too, because as we're recording this, they're tied. So the Guardians are playing so well that they're putting pressure, and the Mariners that they're putting pressure on the Red Sox, who I don't even think we're too worried about maybe falling out of the wild card hunt. So it becomes really, really interesting here down the stretch, especially in the American League.
Yesterday, I was talking about the impact that Roman Anthony's
Oh yeah.
injury has had on the Red Sox, and it's been massive. But the thing is, Roman Anthony being gone doesn't give Cedon Rafaela a negative 34 WRC plus. It doesn't give Alex Bregman a 50 WRC plus.
Will you're having the setbacks and just not coming back. Yeah, it's like
The whole lineup, it's I mean, I made a joke last night because David Hamilton pinch hit late in the game. So it was getting into the middle of the lineup going into the ninth. And they actually walked it off, by the way. They won in 10 innings. But the middle was Bregman, David Hamilton, and Romy Gonzalez. That was 2-3-4. I did post that. And Red Sox fans that are in Discord was like, why are we catching this stray? And I was like, come on, didn't it make you laugh at least a little bit? Like, you have to
I
laugh in the
know.
misery
Yoshida's hitting
sometimes.
cleanup right now as they're losing 4-2 to the Athletics in the sixth.
That's not what you want.
Not out of a playoff team.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. You ready to talk rookies of the year?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so again, we have 8 in the National League, 8 in the American League, but really it's the top 5 with some honorable mentions. I'm going to tee Arm up because this is his list, and we might as well start with the nastiest rookie that we have right now, in Nolan McLean with the New York Mets. The proof is kind of in the pudding right now. My only worry is he going to throw enough innings to end the season where he doesn't qualify for Rookie of the Year next year? Or are we good?
I think he's good. That was part of the timing of everything, so that that they would preserve his rookie eligibility. So I think he'll be good to go. Uh, he just seems like such the favorite now with the way that he has thrown, and you know how it is though with pitching, especially. Who knows what it looks like, and of course needs to stay healthy, all that good stuff. But given the fact that it's been one of the best debuts we've really seen through a handful of starts ever. It's really hard to argue against him. And then you talk to really anybody who's I've been listening to a lot of former big league pitchers talk about McLean and just watching him throw and how impressive and polished he is. Figure he's only going to get better. What do you think the odds would be? Because I know it is a hitter award. We always talk about that, but sometimes there's just pitchers that are just so far ahead of everybody else. He's going to be the odds-on favorite. How short do you think the odds could get for a guy like McLean for next year?
I actually don't know if he's going to open as the favorite.
Really?
And the reason for it is it's hard for a pitcher to win it. You have to be so otherworldly dominant. Now, Nolan McLean will probably end up being the favorite because when people are going to rush to the odds next year, he's going to be the guy that most people know more than some of the other guys who have yet to debut. So I bet he will be. I don't think he's going to be my pick, though, because looking at the rest of the names on your list, Nolan McLean deserves to be ranked number 1 as of now. But getting into number 2, I mean, JJ Wetherholt has been one of your favorite prospects for a long time. And I remember we even bet on him to go number 1 overall in that draft. And it had a lot to do
Probably
with
should have.
some of the stuff that we were hearing. But we all were kind of just talking about, besides the betting stuff, who do you genuinely think should go number 1 overall? And you and Jack, and then of course I piggyback off you guys when we're talking about prospects, was JJ Wetherholt.
Yeah.
Right? And then you show me 10 minutes of swing video, and I'm like, that's perfect. Like that's and he was the preseason number 1 overall pick, but he was dealing with hamstring issues. Then he gets drafted number 7 overall and has just raked his way through the minor leagues. If he gets real run next year, like I feel better, even though I haven't seen JJ Wetherholt play yet in Major League Baseball, that he's going to accumulate the WAR where with a pitcher, you never know if they're going to stay healthy, as unfortunate as it is.
Yeah, it's funny because I felt like so I felt so good calling my shot 2 years ago with or last year with Jackson Merrill and saying no he's gonna get an opportunity to start the year and I think he can win Rookie of the Year, and he has the campaign that he has and still doesn't win it because it took that Paul Skeens
Yes.
otherworldly type of campaign. And I don't think any of these guys, I don't think anyone's going to have an offensive campaign like Merrill did, and I don't think even McLean's going to have a pitching performance over the course of his first full rookie season that Skeens had. But if you kind of realign it, relatively speaking, and they're both kind of a B version of that, then it's very fascinating to think who could win it. And I still do think it skews towards the hitter, even if it's relative. Like both seasons, right, are 30% less impressive than Skeens and Merrill. I just think for whatever reason, the fact that Skeens was so dominant is why it skewed to pitcher. If they're both relatively the same, but 30% less, I think it would skew more towards the hitter, if that makes sense. So that's part of the reason why I do think Weatherholt makes a little bit more sense too. I lean towards a guy that's already doing it in the big leagues, but I think if Weatherholt is, putting up the numbers that we think he can, it definitely could be his award to lose. Last 40 games in AAA, he's hitting 301, 419, 526 with a 944 OPS, and he's walked nearly as much as he struck out. The other thing that I think is really important is he's starting to really get into that power. 8 homers in that span. I think it's one of the more well-rounded offensive skill sets you have in the minor leagues. And then he's also extremely patient, like a 17% chase rate in that span. So that's why he's one of the top prospects in baseball for us. I think he's gonna crack the opening day roster. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. I thought he should get up at the end of this year, honestly, to get some run. But for whatever reason, the Cardinals decided not to do that. He's probably, if you're not going to go with the pitcher, he's definitely the favorite offensively.
Where's he going to play on the Cardinals? Because they have a lot of bats, right? Thomas Ajayce, Brandon Donovan, Mason Wynn. It's a crowded infield. So is it an outfield spot? Does he kick someone out of the infield? Where's he going to play for the Cardinals? Like the reason why, again, I'm asking this is to win a Rookie of the Year, you need runway. You can be as good as humanly possible, but if you don't have a spot, you don't have a spot. So that's why that would be my only pushback because I have zero pushback on his play.
I think they finally get out from Arenado, find a way to do it, and just really prioritize the reps of younger guy here. One less year to try to pay down as well. So maybe he can play some third. Like they've moved him around. He's played short. He's played third. He's played a little bit of second. But it seems like they've been running him more at third than second base. And I think when you look at next year, okay, you got Mason Wynn at short. I think it makes sense to have Weatherholt then at third, Donovan at second. It's a pretty sound offensive and defensive infield there. I think it makes the most sense probably to have him at third base and kind of clear Arenado out of the way at this point, going into next year.
And number 3, staying in the same division, another reason why I don't think Nolan McLean is the clear favorite is that I don't want us to overreact to small samples. And as good as Nolan McLean has been, it's a small sample. Does he continue pitching like this? I have no idea, but it's unprecedented, right? To, pitch to a low ones with an otherworldly strikeout rate. But here's what I know. Arm Layton is as good at analyzing prospect as there is. And how high has Bubba Chandler routinely been on your lists? I'm sure if you even taken them for the rest of their careers, wouldn't you still take Bubba Chandler? Like he hasn't really shown anything to tell us, oh yeah, this guy's overvalued in your rankings. It's young, he's been fastball dominant, but this guy's stuff is also on another planet.
Yeah, pitching is so tough and so fluid because
Yeah.
guy learns a new pitch or finds something different or gains a tick or loses a tick or loses a feel for a secondary. Like it changes so quickly. That's why it's so hard to like. I feel I'm so much more confident in speaking in long term like definitives with hitters, and even then it's still so fluid.
Yeah, it's
But
it's tough.
Bubba's fastball you can't teach, and it's just one of the best fastballs that you're gonna get. And minor leagues, and when it comes to starting pitching in the major leagues, like it has a chance to be an elite fastball too. What's funny is through the first few starts of his big league career, he just hasn't been locating it. And no matter how good your fastball is, if you don't locate it, it's going to get hit. So there's some things that he can probably shore up there, and I think it'll help a lot. But when you look at the numbers, it's really yeah, his numbers are deflated by one blow up
Yeah.
outing, which was against the Brewers, who, if you're a rookie trying to get your footing, that's probably the last lineup I want to face right now. And they got him for 9 earned. You take that one out, he has 4 appearances so far this season, and it's 18 innings at a 2 ERA. He struck out 16 and he's walked just one, which is a 24% K rate and a 1.5% walk rate. So you figure you can keep building on that, go into the offseason, and I think find the little things to regain the command. It was surprising to see the command kind of take a step back this year. And then I think that affected the secondaries and then the fastball performance. But if he's pitching at the best of his abilities and like what I've seen him do in the past, yeah, he's as good as any pitching prospect we've got and any candidate we've got. So, I think the thing with it, the analysis of this though, is like when you get to the big leagues, it's just like a little bit of a different game. And for McLean to do what he's doing, it'd
Yeah.
be hard to discount that. And I think that's what puts him ahead. But the best of Bubba Chandler can do the same thing. It's just we saw far from the best of Bubba Chandler for a lot of this year. And was that him being, going stale in AAA a little bit because they kept him there too long? Maybe. I don't know. But I think the way he's finishing this year, I'm really eager to see how he follows up that 6 innings of 2 hit, 1 run ball, no walk, 7 Ks against the Nationals. Because if he follows that up with another really good one, I'm going to feel much better about how he's riding off into the offseason because I felt like I'd see Chandler have a few starts where I'm like, oh, there he is. Oh, and now he's going to rattle it off now. And then he just gives you a frustrating clunker too. So just wanting to see that consistency and see him build on it.
And on the same team, maybe a guy with the most upside of anyone we've talked about so far, Konnor Griffin. I
This
mean, he
was a
comes,
weird one.
yeah,
Yeah.
talk to me about Konnor Griffin because um, I'm sure you're trying to balance him being really, really young,
Mhm.
but having the loudest tools maybe in the minor leagues. But there's some ups and downs here, but the ups can be unbelievable.
I think if he was in a different org, I wouldn't have him in the top five because I'd be like, oh, well, yes, he's the best hitter pretty much that we've seen in the minor leagues this year overall. If you go age to level, and the fact that he's just gotten better at each level, his AA numbers are comical. But usually you have an established big league option. You're like, oh, let's take our time and make sure that this guy is fully ready when he gets up there. There's a case to be made that right at the start of next year, Konnor Griffin is better than a lot of the bats that they would have in that Pirates lineup, right? So even with the growing pains, the other side of it is it's not like Konnor Griffin was insane in low A and high A and then pretty good in double A. It was good, incredible, and then almost unmatched with what we've seen from a 19-year-old in double A. Like he's gotten better at each level. And from that perspective, I think, well, if you're the Pirates and he just wows you in spring training, do you consider calling him up? And you
Well,
have a chance to get the PPI pick here.
yeah,
You
does
have
it
two.
matter? Does it matter how well he does? Because with the Pirates, what we should be trying to do is just save them money because they always reinvested in the team. So let's focus on saving the money. That's how we should frame the Konnor Griffin.
Well,
Don't worry about the
that
stats. Who cares if he's any good?
yeah.
Let's make sure we're saving money here. This is a real conversation in their front office, I think. I think
I
I'm
well,
quoting them. No, I'm just
that,
kidding. I'm not. I'm not. For anybody seriously listening to me, I'm not quoting them, but that's what it feels like.
that was the thing. So I was going to ask, like, what do you think is more important to them? Guaranteeing, because it's guaranteed, right? An extra year of control of Konnor Griffin because you call him up, towards the end of the season, or just when he can't accumulate at least a full year service time, or having a decent shot at getting that PPI pick. And I'd imagine that they would probably take the guaranteed year of Konnor Griffin and have him repeat double A next year. And if that happens, then he kind of slips out of this rookie of the year conversation.
Yeah.
But the reason why I throw him in there is this is, I wouldn't want to say unprecedented, but this is rare production from a first year pro. And normally you'd look at the games at each level and say, well, no way he gets up next year. But this is different. And there might just be enough there with how special the skill set is and how good he has looked at each stop and how he continues to just look better and better and better. And how he hasn't blinked in double A, where they say, you know what? Let's get him to the show now. Like the fans need something to get excited about. We're not going to be able to spend to get a player that has the ceiling that Griffin has even in his rookie year to help us right now. Let's see what he can do for us because we have this pitching. And if that's the case, then even though he's making the biggest leap, he's probably one of the favorites still right away. I just don't know if they're going to do that. And I know a lot of the Pirates fans will probably be like, no, they won't do it. Look at what they did with Bubba Chandler. They never brought him up, right? I just wonder if this could be a unique circumstance because we're talking about a 19-year-old who hit 21 homers this year between low A, high A, and double A and stole 65 bases while cutting his strikeout rate pretty much at like each level. That you don't find often. And then, by the way, he can play elite defense in center field or potentially really good defense at shortstop as well. So you have a lot of options here. So it's interesting. I lean towards them probably not bringing him up, but I'd be remiss to not mention him because I just think this is a rare talent that you could fast track.
Remiss doesn't even do it justice. I'd be pissed if we didn't hear just because the talent is so outrageous. And if the Pirates just get their heads out of their asses and play him, now he's got to earn it, right? The Pirates shouldn't just because of this season. If he struggles in spring training or something, he's got to earn it. But I
think they should throw him in the fire though, right? Like
I agree.
Get bat leadoff
Yes.
in big league spring training. Make him have to do and it's a bad example because it didn't work out, but like do the Jordan Walker thing, right? Like where it's just, oh my gosh, he's homering off of big league starter after big league starter, just putting together these at bats. Like, we have to put him in there. We have to bring him up. And if he struggles, it's like, you set him up for failure. No, we set him up for long shot success. It never was going to be failure. It's a good opportunity for a really smart, baseball player with elite makeup. But that's the other reason why I think maybe they could be a bit more aggressive with him too.
And at number 5, probably the most underrated player on this list, Nolan McLean's teammate, Carson Benge. I see on your last update of the top 100, you had Benge's ETA for 2027. Has he accelerated that timeline with his play lately? Because it seems like it.
Yeah, he's 20. He's going to be up there next year. And I think Bryce Eldridge is probably the safer pick. I kind of have them as like 5A, 5B.
Okay.
Because Eldridge is already up there right now. And you assume he's going to get a chance to break camp with the Giants and has the power potential to hit 30 home runs. I just think a guy like Bryce Eldridge is going to have growing pains. And a guy like Carson Benge's game is much more likely to translate at the big league level immediately. And it's not to say one player is going to be better than the other. It's just who's going to have a better chance at winning Rookie of the Year. It seems like it would be a guy that can accumulate WAR in center field, that has better bat to ball, and is tapping into more power. The numbers, he got off to a great start in AAA, and then he got hit with a pitch in the hand. Benge did. Missed a little bit of time, and since he came back, wasn't looking fully like himself, but now is starting to come back out of it. He hit a rocket yesterday off of Andrew Painter that got out on the line. But I'm looking at the center field situation next year for the Mets. And obviously they've got Mullins plugged in there right now. But it seems like that job is there for Carson Benge. I don't see why you wouldn't bring him up. And the thing is, even if he didn't break camp, he already has a taste of AAA. He could get up there pretty quickly and still have more than enough runway to win Rookie of the Year. If you've listened to the call-up, you know that Carson Benge has been one of my favorite prospects in baseball for a while now. Like at the preseason, I think we were the only ones to have him in the top 100 list, and then we've been in the high guys on him every update. It's just great swing decisions. It's power that was consistently underrated, and now we're seeing him really start to tap into it. And I think there's still more in there. It's like a 48% hard hit rate and an EV90 of 106 miles per hour. Big league average is like 103 and change, with a 18% K rate. So I imagine they probably put him in positions for success too, where maybe left on again when a lefty's starting, maybe Jose Siri gets to start that game, right? But if he's mostly facing righties, I think he's going to have a pretty soft landing into the big leagues, and he could be a 2020 guy with decent defense and center field. that's going to give you a decent chance to win Rookie of the Year on a big market, good team. But Bryce Eldridge, if he hits enough, he could hit 30 home runs. So like that's always what you're dreaming on. I just think there's a chance he's going to struggle with some swing and miss in the beginning, and it's going to be more of a process for the 6'7" slugger.
We already have seen him come up and struggle, right? The swing and miss has been there, but and then I click on his profile and I'm like, oh yeah, he's 20. I forgot. Like he's 20. He's 20 years old. So
Yeah.
I'm obviously, I don't care what he's doing right now. I just love to see him getting reps. And if those reps don't go so well, it doesn't change my opinion on Bryce Eldridge. But I think you just sold me on the long shot here
Yeah.
because you said that they have Cedric Mullins and it's probably his job. Cedric Mullins is gone after the
No,
season.
I'm saying he's gone this year.
Yeah, and he's not even performed well with the Mets. So it's not someone that, yeah, it's a free agent, but it's like, oh, he's a hometown favorite now. And like, for example, Josh Naylor is a free agent soon. The Mariners love him. Like, I could totally see them bringing him back. I don't see it with Mullins. And then I look at the outfield. Like, are the Mets going to be the team to sign Kyle Tucker? No. Probably not Schwarber. Probably not Cody Bellinger. Like, is it a Dave Stearns move to try and go get Luis Robert? I don't think so. And then the rest of them, like maybe Trent Grisham becomes a Met, but there's not many center fielders that feel like Stearns moves, where it does feel like a Stearns move to give this guy an opportunity. Correct me if I'm wrong. Stearns is pretty aggressive with his prospect promotions. I mean, we've seen McLean, we've seen Tong, we've seen Luis Angel Acuna, we've seen Ronnie Mauricio, we've seen Beatty, we've seen Vientos, we've seen Alvarez come up really early. I feel like when they like a guy, they give him a shot. And here's the runway here. A lot of people aren't going to know him. A lot of people are going to be focused on Nolan McLean because of this unbelievable run he started this year. But I just have a problem with going with pitchers for my award picks when it comes to Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. No,
And it feels
I
like
don't disagree.
Benge is almost similar to Wetherholt, where it's a high floor. And if
Yeah.
you have runway at a New York market in center field, I'm thinking about narratives as well.
Yep.
Arm, you sold me.
Yeah.
Sold me. I'm here.
And
Carson
this is
Benge.
and he's gonna accumulate WAR like more than a Weatherholt too. If he plays a passable center field, he's gonna accumulate WAR out there. And again, I know people are gonna look at the AAA numbers and say, well, he's been brutal in AAA. He's not ready. I'm telling you, like it was right as he got hit on the hand. He went 0 for 20 something, and that really sapped the numbers. But up to that point, he was doing just fine. And again, as of the last few games, he's hitting 3 in a row. He has that homer the other day yesterday off of Painter. And I don't think the Mets are too worried about the AAA results. He had a 184 WRC plus in Double A. I do very much think it was injury related. And then the fact that, yeah, this year he's got 21 bags as well. He's playing center field almost all the time. This is a good player and one of my favorites in the minor leagues right now.
And just to wrap up on the Eldridge point, it's more there's just going to be ups and downs, and he's 20 years old, and it's just tough to know. And he also plays in a really tough ballpark to hit in at Oracle.
And he's going to be probably playing a little first, a little DH. I'm probably alternating with Devers or whatever it may be. And if you're not at 800 or 800 OPS, you are really going to struggle to accumulate WAR, right? And if you struggle, you see it with like the corner guys that aren't hitting great, like they go negative WAR quick. So I think that's a big challenge there. And I just think Eldridge is going to be the best version of Eldridge, or even just at 23 years old or whatever it may be. But I think there's going to be a learning period for a guy that's as big as he is and has a swing and miss and a little bit of chase in his game. And I don't see that skill set translating immediately, and that's okay. But for the sake of just Rookie of the Year awards, like obviously Eldridge has a higher ceiling, but for Rookie of the Year, it's just not the type of candidate I'm expecting to win.
That makes sense. And to wrap up with two pitchers, again, this is why, yeah, McLean, I guess, should be the favorite, but I'm just so invested in some of these long shots because there's so much talent. Andrew Painter is coming in at number 7.
Yeah,
Andrew Painter is one of the best pitching prospects, but he's been hurt. And when he came back from injury this year, didn't go so hot.
yeah.
But it's still Andrew Painter of the Phillies.
It's first year back off of TJ, and he had the weird circumstance where like he didn't throw for more than the typical allotment of TJ time because he tried to avoid surgery, then got the surgery. So we didn't see him throw. He threw like the 2 innings in spring training in 2023, but the last time that he had really thrown in a regular season game setting was September of 2022. So like, and not only that, then he's going to AAA where it's a tighter zone, more experienced hitters, all that good stuff. I think people might be forgetting how good Andrew Painter was before the surgery. And I also think people might just say, oh, well, maybe he's just not the same or whatever. No, I think he just needs to get removed from that surgery a little bit longer. He's going to have the whole offseason to train, build on what he did, because at least he did throw innings and kind of get his body back into that shape. And who knows what he could come back looking like next year. Maybe it's more of the same. But it would be silly to count out a 22-year-old as talented as Andrew Painter is with another offseason to gather some intel, see what went wrong, and build on that, going into the next year. And then with Robbie Snelling, I think he's a candidate to break camp with the Marlins. And you could argue he's been one of the best pitching prospects in the minor leagues over the last 2 months. I mean, his last 14 starts, which all but four of which, or three, all but three of which, so 11 of them are at the AAA level. He's pitched to a 1.21 ERA. He struck out 33% of batters while walking just 6% of batters. It's 103 strikeouts and 81 and 2/3 innings. And when you talk about the floor ceiling thing, he's just going to go out there and he's going to, at the very least, fill up the zone and give you a great shot at a quality start. But what we've been seeing now is more ceiling, where the fastball is starting to play like a plus heater. The breaking ball is sharper, and he's striking out guys 11 times, 13 times the other day. That's a guy that could kind of take the league by storm when people least expect it. So can't rule out Snelling either, especially with the way that Marlins pitchers have been coming up and having some success.
So as you're talking it out, let's get to some early predictions. In the National League, McLean is likely going to be the favorite. And it's okay to go with him. I mean, look how good he is. And there's no reason to believe that he's just going to hit a wall next year, other than it happens sometimes to rookies. Just happens, right? Especially pitchers. He can get hurt. But with a field like this that is so loaded, you sold me on Carson Benge. But I'm also looking at JJ Wetherholt because I do love these guys, these high floor guys who seem to have a path, a runway where they're going to play consistently for teams that want to see what they have. And in markets like St. Louis, in markets like New York, I also lean that direction also. But Benge really lines up the best of everything I'm looking at. Where are you at?
I think, I mean, Benge is my favorite like long shot, I guess. But I've just been so impressed with Nolan McLean.
Yeah.
And I just think he's only going to get better. I know that doesn't necessarily mean statistically, but as a pitcher, he's only going to get better. He's not thrown that many innings in his baseball life. And just certain like little things that have stood out to me too. Like look at the lineups that he has faced. It's the Mariners, it's the Braves, it's the Phillies, it's the Tigers, it's the Phillies again, and then the Rangers. And the Phillies, with all of these veteran hitters, with these future Hall of Famers, getting a second look at this kid, still only put up one run.
Yeah.
I think just the way that he pitches and the deep arsenal, and he's just built to give you a lot of innings if they let him go. And I think this year it was big to just be able to throw the amount of innings that he did to keep building towards that mark. And he's thrown 150 innings this year if you combine minor leagues and the major leagues. And he'll probably finish around 160 something, and we'll see what happens in the postseason. And on top of that, the Mets seem to not really care about innings limits, as Ryan Finkelstein, our managing editor, alluded to. I feel like they might let him go, 160, 70 innings next year. And that's where he could make the strong case, right? So I lean towards him, but Benge is my favorite pick for the value that I'm assuming it would be.
All right. So I think regardless, we think the best long shot, and again, we don't have odds in front of us. It could come out that Carson Benge is second in odds. So then you're the favorite. And now it's like, oh, well, not really a long shot anymore, but in our hypothetical odds that we think that it's going to look like, McLean should be the favorite, and Arm still thinks he is got the best shot to win next year. But the best long shot is Carson Benge, and I'm just not betting on the pitcher. Just give me Carson Benge straight up. So New York Mets, it's got to feel real good. You got the favorite, and you got probably the best long shot in our eyes. But what I will say is there are great arguments for a lot of other guys in this field. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Wetherholt, Konnor Griffin, Bubba Chandler could be the best pitcher among any rookie next year, period. He's got that kind of stuff. And then, of course, like Andrew Painter, I could say the same thing, and Robbie Snelling has been unbelievable. Such a loaded National League. Where this year's National League, it's been Cade Horton throwing 5 inning shutouts, and then the rest of them just being decent.
Yeah. And it is, I think, going to be a much deeper race next year. And I'm not even mentioning like Thomas White for the Marlins could get up and we Jack and I were comparing Thomas White to Blake Snell in terms of just the stuff and the effective wildness, and the arsenal is very similar. Like that's a guy that could come up, and it wouldn't shock me if he just kind of takes the league by storm. But obviously, the command's going to need to get a little bit better. Owen Casey. Owen Casey could be a guy that, especially if Kyle Tucker's not there, he's going to get run, and he could hit 30 plus homers. No problem. Like, the Marlins could bring up Joe Mack, who's a phenomenal defensive catcher, and he could just accumulate WAR. The Phillies might bring up Aiden Miller, who's already swinging it pretty well in AAA. I don't know where he would fit in necessarily, so that would be interesting. But maybe they trade Bohm because they love what they've seen from Miller. Maybe they move Stott. Who knows? But that's a guy that could make some noise. It's crazy how loaded they are. And then we didn't even mention like South Stewart. South Stewart's getting a taste of the big leagues right now. He's flashing the power. He's playing in Great American Ballpark. He could easily hit 25 plus bombs next year and make a strong case for himself.
Look at that. Look how loaded the National League is. And we haven't even talked about the American League side, which is also loaded. But before that, our first break. All right, the National League side is incredible. There are so many strong names. And in the American League, it's also deep. And we've seen a lot of them have early success at the big league level. But at number one on your list, Aram, Samuel Basallo of the Baltimore Orioles, which is interesting because when we had Jeff Passan on, you asked a great question where it was like, this isn't going to take away really from Adley's catching, right? And Jeff goes, yeah, they signed him for the bat. So Basallo's going to get run at first base, at DH. He's probably going to catch a few days a week. Almost no matter what, it seems like his bat is going to be in the lineup. And you've compared him to Rafael Devers before because of his ability to be one of the best bad ball hitters, right? He can get to anything at any spot. But also, if you throw it in the zone, it's also going 20 rows into the right field bleachers in Fenway.
Yeah, I mean the
Or
power is
Fenway
just
in at Camden Yards. And they have the
it
big.
will at Fenway too.
Yeah, I was just imagining,
Devers,
Devers, and I don't even know where I was going with it. Besides, was awesome.
the power is crazy, and he got one the other day. I think now what he's up to 3 home runs in the big league so far. He hasn't been lighting it up just yet, and I think that's okay because also with Adley being out, the focus has actually been more on him catching a little bit and just developing there defensively. Once Adley gets back, and I think looking at next year, Basallo can focus a little bit more on hitting and then just catching a couple times a week. But this has been good development for him as a catcher and just getting those reps back there in the meantime. But the reason why he's my favorite is just because he's going to be able to hit for a lot of power next year. And he's getting the opportunity to maybe not have the defensive gaps as much because he can maybe shore at least some of the basics up and just be a little bit better of a receiver and blocker to where it's not, the Augustine Ramirez war crater kind of thing that you're seeing. But also the fact that when you combine feel to hit and power and ability to get into that power, there's not really anybody competing with that in the American League when it comes to the rookies. So this is a dude that I think if he plays a full year, even if he's not playing at his absolute best, could easily get to 30 home runs. And then you figure with the big league stint that he's got now under his belt going into the offseason, getting a full season next year where he already has a taste of what major league pitching is like, and then he doesn't have to catch as much as he's been catching this year. I think it's only going to help him offensively. It's just some of the more exciting power potential that you've got, with a young player in Major League Baseball.
I will say, even though Nolan McLean this season has been way better than Samuel Basallo, when Basallo came up this season, I feel much more comfortable. Because I'm thinking about it from a betting lens, just probabilities. What are the probabilities that Samuel Basallo plays the majority of this season and reaches his 50th percentile outcome? Like, I just think that's higher than a pitcher. I do. And we've seen, especially in the minor leagues, what like 70% of Basallo looks like, and it's outrageous. He's an unbelievable hitter, and we've seen when he makes contact early on in the short stint, it hasn't really gone that well. But when he does, I mean, he pillages baseballs. Like you see what you said about bad ball hitting. Like he can go fishing out of the zone, and it seems controlled. It seems compact. Like he's a really, really good hitter. And I also know that the Orioles, they need a good hitter like this. Like
Yeah.
they gave him an extension the first time. You think they're going to give a guy an extension and not give him run? So that's why for me, I know he's going to play most games unless injuries happen, but at the positions he's playing, DH, first base, some catcher, I think those injury risks are a little bit mitigated. I think he's just going to hit all year. And I love
Yeah.
that as my favorite. So I love that he's at the top of your list. And even though McLean has been better in the short stint, I would be most confident in taking Basallo in the American League.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think he's probably going to be the clear favorite in my opinion.
Yeah, he should be.
It's just because the next in the American League, I think the next best candidates are kind of all arms, except it's funny. I sent you the list. I didn't focus as much in the specific order uh, with the bats here. And the
Okay.
more I've thought about it, I actually think the the bat that is on the other side of these three arms might have the second best chance of winning this thing, and that's going to be like my case I want to make and calling my shot here on this show of who I think could be a really good. I don't want to say fully dark horse because he's up there and he just had a two-homer game the other day, but like a guy that I don't think many people are going to be expecting to win Rookie of the Year that I think could easily do it.
Talk to me.
Carter Jensen. I
Mm,
think Carter Jensen's a freak. We talked about it. I think in the top 100 update. I think most underrated raw power in the minor leagues. We were talking about the Royals, and I was like, I love the fact that they brought up Jensen because he could just be a spark for them. And he had, as to be expected, some adjustment in the first handful of games, but he had a two-homer game the other day. Both swings were insane, and then he also hit a double 111. I don't think people realize how hard this guy hits the ball, and he's 22 years old. And another player here that is getting this taste of the big leagues can go into the offseason and really build on that. But if you combine his big league debut with the Royals and AAA this year, and double and AAA, so the minor leagues as well, it's a 56% hard hit rate. That's just ridiculous. And even in the big leagues, like he's just continued to hit the ball hard. It just hasn't really had eyes, but even the outs have been loud. This guy, I think is one of the most underrated players now in Major League Baseball, and I think people are going to really start to see that he has borderline plus plus raw power, despite just being 6 foot 210. He's improved as a catcher enough to I think be average back there, and he's a guy that has so much thump. I know they have Salvi there, but like that's a guy that you can mix into the DH here and keep him in the lineup because of the pop he possesses. And I think the most encouraging part of it is swing and miss was a concern. Since he's got to the show, he has only struck out in 10 games 6 times. He's walked that many times. So if that is something that can continue, I like him as much as really anybody for the sneaky Rookie of the Year pick. Hitter friendly environment in Kansas City. And I think his average exit velocity this year is 93 and a half miles per hour. I think we put a video out on that. It would have put him like top 20 in Major League Baseball. You say, okay, yeah, but that was in the upper minors. He has not let his foot off the gas in the EV department since he got up to the big leagues.
so, two things. Number one, when we were at the Futures game, we were watching Carter Jensen and Lazaro Montes for the Seattle Mariners, the big old slugger, take batting practice. And you were like, watch Montes. He's a freakazoid. And I was watching him take home runs at Truist, like into the brewery up there. I can't even remember exactly,
Yeah, above
what
the
it,
chop house.
yeah, the chop house up there, like clearing that. And then Carter Jensen comes up, much smaller,
Yeah, you could fit like two Carter Jensens and Laz Montes.
doing the same thing.
Yep. If
Same
you
thing.
blindfolded or you were just only looking at the chop house, you wouldn't know when Laz Montes was hitting, who's like 6'8",
Yeah,
like
he's
300 pounds,
enormous. He looked like
and
Jordan.
and then Carter Jensen, who's 6 foot 210. If you were just looking at the chop house and watching the balls fly over there, you
Yeah.
wouldn't know And listening to the thump of the bat, you would know the difference.
You would have
And
thought
that's how freaky the bat speed is for Jensen.
James Wood and O'Neal Cruz were taking batting practice there. And to put that hard hit rate, right? You said 56%.
Mm-hmm.
There are 7 major league players this year who have a hit rate of 56% or higher. That's O'Neal Cruz, Juan Soto, Ben Rice. Shout out Ben Rice. James Wood, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Schwarber. Those guys would be ahead of Carter Jensen.
Do you know what Carter Jensen's is in 10 games? I know it's a micro sample, but it's all we can work with here. But this is more to just reinforce oh, well, he was doing it in the minor leagues. What's he doing in the majors? Do you know what his hard hit rate is through 10 games in the big leagues?
I don't want to be that guy that, right, you're looking.
Yeah,
When
I know.
people
We always
ask
ruin
you
that.
this, you want someone to guess low. So I'm going to guess low, but it's still going to be high. 60%?
70.6%. It's a 17 batted ball sample. But
No,
that's my point of
no, we're
everything that
diving.
he has hit has been hard.
Start tweeting this out. Just start tweeting it. Don't worry about the amount of games played. Do you know how many clicks you're going to get?
Fun with numbers, man.
Fun with numbers.
He took Gilbert backside. What I love is it's the bat speed, but like the way that the barrel works behind him while still having so much velocity and violence through the zone. He gives himself such a wide contact margin, and then it's just major damage. He's become one of my favorite hitters too on the American League side. It's like him and Benge. So calling my shot there on Jensen. I think he's going to have a huge rookie season next year.
And there's 3 more arms in the top 5, and we'll start at the top, who you put number 2. But I totally understand what you're saying, that when you sent it over, it wasn't really ranked, and you want to go Carter Jensen. I agree with you. But damn, Trey Yesavage of the Toronto Blue Jays looked so good in his debut. I was watching him thinking to myself, how does anybody see it out of his hand? It looks like the exact same release point for all of his different pitches. And
It is.
that splitter, dude. That thing. I just don't know how anyone knows what's coming. And you either got a fastball in the mid to upper 90s at the top of the zone, or just this. I don't even like calling it a splitter. It drops off the table. It's hard to describe. It's like
Well,
I hope Payton's putting the highlights on it. It's an invisible. It looks different than really any splitters.
Well, think about it from this, and this is what I was always making the case with Yesavage, why I thought he is like the final boss of vert fastball splitter combo, and how it
Yes.
can just create this impossible tunnel, because his release height is like the highest release height we've seen from a pitcher in like a decade. Like I don't know if we've ever had somebody releasing the ball higher. It's
Chris Young.
straight.
Chris Young.
Yeah, maybe
Maybe up
Chris
there.
Young. It's
Sam
it's
Shelley.
straight over the top.
Yeah.
And sometimes, that can nullify some of the perceived ride on a fastball, but he offsets that by still maintaining a ton of vert on the fastball. So it still gets good carry. But then you think about this. Okay, you're releasing your fastball from higher, or your pitch from higher than anybody is releasing it. And then the whole point of a splitter is that it falls out of the sky. So it's like you're dropping it from a higher altitude out of the sky.
Yep.
Off of a fastball that carries from a higher spot more than anybody would really anticipate. So that vertical separation plays up so much, but it all sets up in a tunnel vertically where he locates the fastball, and the splitter starts in the same spot and dives off of it. And I really think that vertical drop plays up because he's releasing from such a high position. And that, combined with the fact that it's a 65-degree arm angle, which is it's just weird. And I love weird when we're talking about pitchers. I don't think anybody's got a 65-degree arm angle. So it's just so unique. And then, oh, by the way, he has a gyro slider that achieves the same thing, right, with the downward action. He's going to get lefties and righties out. He's going to fill up the zone, it seems like now. And that's been the big part that has been very encouraging to me. And I think he's got a clear spot in the rotation for next year, too. So we talk about it not really being a pitcher award. I think health is something to monitor. Medicals were a little bit of a concern going into the draft and this and that. But so is the case with any pitcher at the end of the day. I think he's got as good of a case as just about any arm. And I think we saw a little reason why with that debut against the Rays.
And the next 2 were staying in the division and on the same team. Payton, Tolle, and Connelly early, 2 lefties. both wowed in their debut. But then Connelly early against the same opponent did the same thing, looked incredible once again. Tolle struggled. And now
Yeah.
the Red Sox have come out and said that Tolle is going to be a bullpen arm moving forward for them. Well, it seems like Early's going to continue to get starts here. But
Hmm.
I have to imagine that both are going to get opportunities
Yeah.
to make next year's opening day rotation.
Yeah. And, I just felt like I had to mention both those guys because they're there doing it and they clearly can throw. I think Early's kind of the guy that would win by default if Basallo really struggles and Jensen struggles and Yesavage doesn't stay healthy or whatever it is, because I think the floor is so high with Early, and he's built up to be able to throw a decent amount of innings here. But he was another guy. The way he was setting up his pitches was so impressive. And I know we broke that down a few episodes ago, but the whole arsenal, and it's a deep bag of pitches, and it's a good fastball that sets the tone for then a pair of breaking balls and the changeup, and the way he's now filling up the zone a little bit more, and the way he works down the mound, and how athletic the delivery is. Such a good chance to just be a really solid pitcher next year. With Tolle, he could end up just striking out the world with his fastball slider combo, but I'm a little bit more concerned about him being able to do it over the whole course of the season. I think he needs a little bit of a deeper bag of pitches. He's super talented. I think him out of the bullpen, he could be pitching in leverage in the World Series for the Red Sox, and I trust him because he could just go fastball and just blow it by you. But I think for the course of a whole major league season, I do wonder what it's all going to look like. But the fact that both these guys are there and we've already seen them have some success at the big league level and the stuff is undeniable, I think both of those guys have to be serious candidates going into next year. Because I think both are going to get some pretty serious runway as well, I think, for the Red Sox.
What do you think the Red Sox rotation looks like next year?
Ooh. I mean, who are the guarantees, right? So you have Crochet, you have
Crochet.
Bayo.
Yep.
I just saw, so with Giolito, did like a mutual option just vested. So does that mean he can
Yes.
now opt out?
I think he can, but would he?
He's been good.
Yeah, he has.
So like, let's see. So this was he completed 4 innings against the Athletics. This is by MLB Trade Rumors. That pushes him to 140 frames in the season. He said a vesting option that needed for the vesting threshold option that needed to convert the Red Sox 14 million club option into a 19 million dollar mutual option, which means he'll be able to opt out in favor of a 1.5 million dollar buyout and return to the open market in search of a multi-year deal. So yeah, he's going to get paid 1.5 million to opt out and then can just go to free agency. He's going to do that.
Yeah.
So maybe they bring him back, but I think that clears. I think it makes it even more likely now that you get to see one or both of these guys in that rotation next year. That I'm thinking about it now because you got Crochet, you've got Bayo, you've got. I mean, Kyle Harrison's a candidate, but I like these other guys more.
What's going to happen with Tanner Houck?
Yeah, what's gonna happen with Tanner? I think all these guys are more exciting. Both these guys are more exciting than all of them. So I think both could easily be in the rotation. Maybe Patrick Sandoval as he comes
Yeah.
back. But
And
I think both
that's
these guys
the
are gonna have
Red
an
Sox.
opportunity.
Red Sox might sign someone in free agency too.
Yeah.
Would you expect them to do? So then it becomes, I think, a four-horse race between Sandoval, Houck, Early, and Tolle for those last two spots. That would be
Yeah.
my guess. Is they go Crochet, Bayo, free agent, and then the two best of those four arms.
Yeah. And I think the way Early's throwing, man, like
It's hard not to
he
say
might
that
just be
he's got running.
grandfathered in if he keeps
Yeah,
doing this. So I like Early. I think is just again because the pitch ability that's there is
yeah.
just so impressive. And I know that those guys are going to be in the show next year because there's players I like more, and we're going to get to them, but I don't know if they're going to be in the show quickly enough. And it's kind of similar to the Konnor Griffin conversation.
So that's probably why Tigers fans have already turned off this podcast because they haven't heard about Kevin McGonigle yet. And I can hear them screaming. I already know they're going to be screaming in the Discord, the best baseball group chat in the world. Again, if you guys want to join, you can find the link in the description. October is coming. It's going to be the best month. And if you want to join right now, we'll be talking prospects probably right after the show airs. Kevin McGonigle is your number one overall prospect.
Yeah.
And what's the reason he's not in this top five? It has to be playing time.
I just don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think ultimately I'd probably like McGonigle maybe more than like a Tolle the more I think about it, but I don't know what they're going to do. I'd hope that they go with him, early in the year, but Tigers fans will tell you themselves, Scott Harris doesn't really move his prospects too aggressively.
Hmm.
But the thing is, you look at what McGonigle has done in Double A, and it's a 162 WRC plus in 46 games. They're going to go send him to the Arizona Fall League where he's going to be Barry Bonds, and then he's going to head into spring training. I think he should make the team out of spring training. I think 100% he should.
They don't
If
even
he
have a
does,
shortstop. They
he
don't
should be their
have a shortstop.
he should be their opening day shortstop. If he is maybe my favorite.
Okay. Okay.
I just I My concern is he played 74 games this year. 6 of those were rehab games. So really he played 68 games this year. He has never played he played 88 games this year. He played 60 something games last year, 70 games total. 88 games this year. Will probably finish with, you include the playoff games, 90 something. And then Arizona Fall League will probably get to like 105. Do they want to throw him right into a 150 plus at the big league level? Maybe. I mean, maybe they don't care. But the conservative nature of Scott Harris makes me a little bit nervous about it in terms of how quick they're going to bring him up. And he hasn't reached AAA yet. And I don't know if Scott Harris is a guy that brings guys up from AA as much and as quickly. So that was my only concern. But if you told me right now, he will be up within the first 2 months of the season, he's my favorite.
He's also
Without a doubt.
21.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's 23 and we're pleading like he needs to come up right
And
now.
he
Like
just turned 21.
it's understandable that he's still in double A, no matter how
Yes.
well he's performed. Right? You mentioned Konnor Griffin at 20 years old. Like he's in rare air at 20. McGonigle's been the second best hitter in double A and he's 21.
Yeah. And he's
So,
only played 46 games there. So I
yeah.
would understand Scott Harris saying, like, let's not throw this kid into the fire yet. It's a long season. Let's let him get hot in AAA. Or, I think he's probably shown enough to be able to skip double. Or not skip, but like just not go back to double. But let's get him going in Toledo and then go from there. But the reason why maybe McGonigle should be a little bit of a stronger candidate, maybe, and maybe should be ahead of those pitchers, would be that if he gets thrown into AAA and he just goes nuts, which I think he would right away, why wouldn't you then just bring him up after a month or two?
Yeah.
And I think that's what they could ultimately do, especially with the pressure of like the cutoff for the PPI. They may look at it and say, hey, well, Basallo is off to a little bit of a slow start. McGonigle's got the highest floor. Like, we could easily get this PPI pick and bring him up. So the more I think about it, I think he's right up there with those other guys. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I could also see Scott Harris saying, we're going to take our time, and prioritize the extra year of control. I think the Arizona Fall League stint is a focus on getting him comfortable playing 100 plus games and eyeing the full season next year. And that's why I do think I can kind of talk myself more into it that he should probably be ahead of those pitchers. But it's just so hard when I know those pitchers are going to be in the big leagues and I have no idea what's going to happen with McGonigle yet. And I haven't really, asked anybody specifically or done some digging yet. I figured I was going to do that in the offseason. But if you tell me he's going to get up in the first couple months, I'll put him, right there with Basallo and without a doubt.
Even ahead of Carter Jensen.
Yeah. Yeah. If he's up there within the first couple months,
He's just
no
too
doubt.
good.
He's too good.
So that's someone to watch. We get two other names. Walker Jenkins with the Minnesota Twins. Tons of upside.
Just the same story though, right? Is he going to?
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen him play. What's the
Period.
most games at Walker
Period.
Jenkins? Like,
We've seen him
he's
play.
back and he's playing really well, and I'm just holding my breath, right? Like, can you stay healthy? He's never played more than 82 games in a season. And this year will be the year where he actually plays more. If you include the rehab games that he'll play, maybe 85, 86. Last year it was 82 with the rehab games included, but it was 33 games in low A and 34 at high A and 6 at double A. This year it's 52 at double A and 20 so far in triple A. production's never been a problem. 833 OPS last year, 854 OPS this year with the injuries sandwiched in between. I, I just I don't know whether he can stay on the field. If he can, obviously this is a guy that's an immediate candidate for a team that's rebuilding that would be happy to give him plenty of runway. And the combination of bat to ball with burgeoning power and the ability to play decent center field or a good corner, like he's gonna be an asset. He's starting to steal bags more again. He's a very dynamic player, but it's a far cry from 80 games to get up to the big leagues and play enough games to win Rookie of the Year. And I hope he can do it, but I'm not abundantly confident that he can.
And for all those reasons, the guy you sent me that's ranked last, but I'm curious actually if you actually think he should be, is Dylan Beavers, who with the Baltimore Orioles, who we expect to also get consistent runway with the Orioles next year. Right field, he's 24 years old, and he's come up and he's played well this season, walking at a 20% rate. 893 OPS. He's hit a couple of home runs. He's playing decent defense. Like, this is another one of those Orioles players who in the past was kind of blocked and would just destroy AAA, and we're waiting for the Orioles to call him up. Now he's finally gotten a little bit of runway, and it's almost it's another like Stowers. It feels like another Kyle Stowers for them.
Yeah, no, he's been awesome and snuck into our top 100 update before he made his debut because of the improved quality of contact. The swing decisions are so good. He's pulling the ball in the air so consistently, and we've seen that translate into results at the big league level. I do think he's a guy that, even though he's hit lefties sneaky well in his big league debut, the quality of contact drops off so much against lefties that I do think they'll probably shelter him more, especially when you've got a guy like Tyler O'Neill on that bench, or should be playing more regularly. But I don't know how they're going to handle all that, but definitely a guy that would be taking some of those ABs, especially from Beavers, on the short side of the platoon. And then I think they want to play him every day anyways, but that would be someone that's prioritizing reps over Beavers. I think he's going to hit righties really well. I think he's a high floor guy that if everybody struggles, that's the kind of guy that could win it like a weak year. Like if he was in the National League, if you had a National League type of situation in 2025, Beavers is a great candidate. I just don't know if he's going to play regularly enough, and I don't know if there's enough flash there to win it with the talent that's up. But he is a really safe option because he's been so good. He's going to walk. He's going to hit his home runs that with the ability to pull in the air, and he's going to put the ball in play and really not have any holes to his game. It's kind of 50s across the board from a scouting perspective.
The way I look at Beavers and why I actually think he's going to be a decent bet for Rookie of the Year is he gives me similar vibes to an Isaac Collins with the Milwaukee Brewers, where it's like he's going to play pretty good defense. He's going to make good swing decisions. So his on base percentage is probably going to be decently high. He's going to hit some home runs. He's going to steal some bases. Kind of just going to be a really solid player, almost in the Colton Cowser. Now, neither of them won Rookie of the Year, right? And it doesn't seem like Isaac Collins is going to win. But I feel like Beavers' odds are going to be like 11th or 12th. And he's going to finish third next year, if that makes sense. It's just kind
Yeah.
of a guy who, yeah, you're right. Not super flashy, but he's probably going to be a 2.5 win player next year.
Yep. Yeah,
And
he's a
it's
great
just
shot
like
at
pretty
doing that.
good and is going to be in the mix if some of these pitchers, have injury concerns, or maybe Basallo is a little bit too hit or miss. McGonigle doesn't get called up in time. And then at the end of the year, it's like Beavers has a 2.8 F WAR, and we're like, yeah, he won.
Yeah.
Like, he just
Yeah.
won.
And
And
that's kind of
that's
like the by default thing, like where it's just he could have such a solid season that if everything else doesn't really come together, he's gonna have that strong case to kind of just back into it because
yeah.
you feel really good about him being able to at least have that solid season, and that's why I think he's still a strong candidate. But the flash is not necessarily there, but I think the fact that he's already hitting the ball harder than ever and pulling it in the air the way that he is, all of a sudden makes you think that maybe there could be 20 homers or more in the tank. And if he does that, then there is a really strong case.
So that'll do it. But now let's get to some predictions. Again, these are way too early. Don't hold us to it. We could definitely change in the offseason, right as we find out more. Like, let's say McGonigle. Oh, yeah, he's named opening day shortstop. Your
Then
pick's
he's my
probably going to be
pick, and
McGonigle,
I'm
right?
sprinting with it.
But
Yeah.
just right now, where are you feeling?
I might end up being pretty chalk here. Um, so
I mean, it is your list, and you did rank Basallo one.
I'll go McLean and Basallo. I really do like the Carter Jensen pick. Like
Yeah.
I really think he could make some noise. I'll I'll make it a little bit more exciting. I think Carter Jensen could easily do it. So, but it is my list. I did go Basallo one, so
Yeah. It
I'm
is.
just gonna go chalk, I guess. But I feel really good about Jensen. And then if you tell me Kevin McGonigle's up within the first 2 months, he's my pick. I'm not even blinking. I'm not thinking twice about it.
So there you go. My predictions, I would go Carson Benge in the National League because you sold me. I think that center field spot is going to be his. And in New York, playing a premium position, and we both think he's going to play well and he's going to supply some power and some speed. Give me Carson Benge in the American League. I'm just, I'm I'm such a Basayo guy. Like I think even if Kevin McGonigle's up, I think Basayo has that ability to be like a 135, 140. Like I wouldn't be so surprised if he does what Junior Caminero did this year.
Yeah, exactly. Because he mishits balls that leave the yard, and it's just like
Exactly. So it's like if he's in the 40 home run range,
it's
the
a wrap.
war's not really going to be there, but it's just going to be the best bat. And like, let's say McGonigle plays good defense, hits 270, hits 20 home runs. Like he might have a better war, but Basayo's offense just could be outrageous. And after getting that extension, Basayo's going to be my pick in the American League, and then I'm going to go Carson Benge in the National League. But I also I think I will be betting Dylan Beavers. Like it depends on the odds, but he's going to be like 13th in odds, and that's just going to be
Yeah,
wrong.
it's a good shot. It's a good shot to
But again, we
take.
have no idea the odds, so we could be fourth. And I'm like, never
Yeah.
mind, right? It's all about value. And who knows? If Basayo is not the favorite, we'll be all over that. But we will see. A lot of things can develop. What we're going to do is end the episode with a quick weekend preview. I want to ask you about a couple of matchups and what you kind of think, but really I want to focus in on Mariners versus Astros. So just real quick, Red Sox versus Rays in Tampa, Crochet versus Drew Rasmussen. I think Crochet continues to shove, but the Red
Yeah,
Sox offense stinks.
it has been
Probably
rough
a
right now.
decent underplay. I kind of think the Rays win, but Crochet pitches well.
You think the Rays went? The Rays have been weird lately, but I go Red Sox squeeze it out. Crochet just puts them on their back.
Brewers versus Cardinals rematch. Mizorowski versus Sonny Gray. I took Cardinals money on last time at about plus 140. They were up 6-1 in the sixth inning and then blew it, and the Brewers won. That wasn't really fun to watch. Um, this time, the Cardinals are going to win this time.
So who is it's card? It's Gray versus
Sonny Gray versus Jacob Mizorowski.
yeah. That's a fun one though. I don't know if I have a prediction.
Are they
I
going to
don't know.
tie?
Mizrowski's impossible for me to predict at this point.
Are they going to tie?
Yes,
Okay, tie. Giants versus Dodgers in LA. Robbie Ray versus Clayton Kershaw.
Robbie Ray versus Clayton Kershaw. The Giants need it, which is
They
why I
need
think
it.
Kershaw's gonna shove.
Yeah.
I give me the Dodgers.
Yeah, with that. All right. Then on Friday, Brian Wu versus Hunter Brown in Houston, Astros versus Mariners.
Wow, that's the game.
The game. I mean, this weekend, like, I'm watching every second of that series.
Oh man, that's yeah. Hunter Brown, Brian Wu. Mm, I, in Houston though.
In Houston.
Give me the Astros in that one.
Really? So you think the Mariners' road woes continue?
At least against Hunter Brown.
Yeah, true. Because on Saturday, we have George Kirby versus Framber Valdez. Is that the one that because all I remember it so clearly in the playoffs that George Kirby start where it was like 7 shutty, 10 Ks against the Astros in the playoffs. And he's been looking a lot better lately. Like, I think this is a
Yeah.
statement, unbelievable start by Kirby.
Yep, he struck out 14 last time out. I think he builds on that momentum um and they get to Fromber.
I kind of think the Mariners win the first game too.
Over Hunter Brown.
Hunter Brown versus Brian Wu. Like,
I mean that
I just, it feels like this is the Mariners' time. The Astros just have too many injuries, but if they win this series, like they are just they're unbelievable.
They're
They're gonna
inevitable.
win the division again with
Yeah.
nothing, and then probably make a run with just scraps. God, they're so good.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, Logan Gilbert versus Jason Alexander.
They should win that game.
Jason Alexander's gonna shove it, you know it.
The Mariners should win that game. And I think they lose the first one, they win the next two.
I'm gonna go with a sweep.
Wow.
Oh no, I hate it. I hate it. The Astros are definitely gonna take one. I feel good about game one. I feel great about game two. And then it's like, it's so obvious. I think they lose game three. I think Alexander beats Gilbert somehow.
All
That's
right.
my weird, but I
That's
think
baseball.
we're both aligned. We both think the Mariners take two of three, but I think it's game three they lose.
Okay.
Where the Mariners are just so hyped up in the Astros, cold blood. Jason Alexander goes 5 innings, 8 hits, 0 runs. Gilbert goes 7 innings, 1 run, and the Astros win 1-0.
Okay.
All right. So that'll do it for this episode of the Just Baseball Show. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. And if you did, the best way to support, rate and review Spotify and Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, and subscribe, like, and comment down there on YouTube. And of course, if you want to join the best baseball group chat in the world, October is coming. And if you want to talk about early rookie of the year stuff, Arm and I are going to be in Discord talking about it on Friday as you're listening to this. So, again, it's just $5 for a week. If you just want to hang out for a week, come on in. $10 a month, less than a price of a sandwich. Make sure to go check it out. The link is in the episode description. For Arm Layton, I'm Peter Apple. Hopefully, everybody has a great weekend. And with that, thank you, everybody.